Good evening. My name is Lisa Cooper. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Philadelphia University, and tonight we're going to be talking about some information pertinent to where you're at in the financial aid process. So we're going to start by talking about what is financial aid. Financial aid is any money that the students can get to help pay for college. And we'll go into explicit detail about the different types of aid, but it is encompassing of any funds that the student will get. So there's different categories of financial aid. There are what are called non-need-based types of aid that are based on the student's ability or talent to do something, be it the athletic ability or an academic ability. Sometimes it could be even artistic ability or music related. Then there are categories of aid that are called need-based. And those are funds that are available to students based on the filing of the free application for federal student aid, otherwise known as the FAFSA. And I'll talk about that in more detail as we go through the program. So we have two different categories of aid. One is non-need based, one is need based. And then within that, we have different types of aid. So there will be scholarship aid that will be based on the student's ability to perform something. Here at Philadelphia University, we have academic scholarships and we also have athletic scholarships. We also have grants from not only the university, but we have grants that are offered to students from different states as well as the federal government. There are also different types of financial aid that are covered under the employment category, and these are basically jobs, and students would work to earn the money that is allotted to them. And while it is employment, it is considered financial aid under the federal program of work study. And again, the student would work to earn money, and that will help pay for incidental expenses that they incur at college. Then there are different types of loans. There are loans that the student will be able to borrow. There are loans that the parents will be able to borrow. And loans, by definition, are monies that eventually have to be repaid. So scholarships and grants is free money. Employment is work, and loans is funding that does eventually have to get repaid. Oops. So here at Philadelphia University, we have different categories of academic scholarships. We have faculty scholarships and we have faculty grants. Students are awarded these funds based on their high school grade point average and SAT scores. Notification of these awards happens soon after the acceptance to the university. A letter is sent to the student signed by our Director of Admissions, Greg Potts, offering them the appropriate money. The awards would be sent to the student for the 4 or 5 years that they will be here. We do have some programs that are 5-year programs, and if the program is a 5-year program, the scholarship would cover that period of time as well. The scholarship must, in order to renew it, the student must maintain a minimum grade point average, and depending on the different type of award the student has, they'll see referenced in the letter that they will receive about the scholarship what the grade point average that they need to maintain is in order to renew the scholarship. If a student has a difficult first year, there is a appeal process, and if the student is not maintaining that grade point average, we will communicate that to the student at the appropriate time and let them know what the process is for appeal. We also have athletic scholarships, and the athletic scholarships are awarded to the students based on their ability to perform in that given sport. The sports on the screens are the ones that do have the scholarship component, and if your son or daughter is potentially a scholarship athlete, you should contact the athletic department at the phone number on the screen or through the email or web address that's listed as well. The decision about the athletic scholarship is made by the athletic department in terms of what is needed in that given sport, as well as the available funding. So contact the athletic department for more information about those. We also have what we call need-based grants, and we call them Philadelphia University grants. The eligibility determination for those awards is based on the FAFSA, and meaning we're going to look at the financial need, and we're going to look at the grant as a piece of the overall financial aid award. Then there's money that the federal government allots for financial aid. The first type of aid I'll mention is a Pell Grant, and eligibility for Pell for the 14-15 year will be a maximum of $5,730. The eligibility is based on the family's contribution as determined from the FAFSA form. Generally, the Pell Grant goes to low-income students, and it is a grant, meaning it does not have to be repaid. So if you're eligible for a Pell Grant after you file your FAFSA, you will have that listed on your financial aid award letter once that is sent to you. In addition, there is money available through the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, otherwise known as SEOG. This is also a grant, and it's usually awarded to students who are eligible for the Pell Grant. And if you are eligible for that, it would be listed on your financial aid award letter as well. There is also a program called the Federal Perkins Loan Program. The Perkins Loan Program is a student loan, and it's interest and principal deferred while the student is in school. The Perkins Loan Program is up for discussion right now, so we're hopeful that it will be part of the financial aid awarding when we do get to that, but the government has not made any decision yet about the status of the Perkins Loan Program. If your son or daughter is eligible for that, that would be listed on their financial aid award letter as well. There's also money from the government available through the Federal Work-Study Program, and this is an employment program. So while it is awarded as a piece of financial aid, it is money that the student has to work to earn. Most of the work-study positions are on campus. We do have some available in what are called community service jobs that are off campus, but most of the positions are on campus, and students are utilized in various offices, working for faculty members, doing research, working in our library. The jobs are vast and across the campus. The way that work-study works is the student will work, making minimum wage, and they'll get paid every 2 weeks for the hours that they work. This money does not get credited to the student's bill, but again is issued to them as a paycheck and is to be used for incidental expenses. There's also money available through different state organizations under state grant programs. Here in Pennsylvania, for Pennsylvania residents, we have a program called the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency Grant, otherwise known as FIA. And FIA will send you a supplemental application once you've filed your FAFSA that needs to be completed so they can assess your eligibility. The maximum FIA grant that students received for the 13-14 year was about $4,300, and we're waiting to hear what the grants will be for this upcoming year. The notification of the FIA grant will be sent to you directly by FIA, even though on your award letter we may have an estimated amount based on the information that we do know at the time we're sending out your letter. Students that may be from Delaware, Vermont, Ohio, or Michigan, their state grants will be transferable, meaning that you can use them out of state. It may be at a lower amount than what you would have had in state. The students that may be from New York or New Jersey, unfortunately your state grant cannot come with you out of state. Your guidance counselor is a good point of reference to find out if your state grant is transferable, or you can contact your state education department to find out more information. There's also money available through different outside organizations. So it's a good idea to check with different organizations that you may be affiliated with to see if there is scholarship money available. So there's different foundations, businesses, and charitable organizations that fund scholarships to help students go to college. There are different civic organizations like the Knights of Columbus that fund scholarships. Different religious organizations often have money to help students go to college, as well as some of your employers. So now is a good time to start checking and see if there is money from whatever groups you may be affiliated with to help students fund their college education. The deadlines and procedures may vary. So again, now is a good time to start checking that piece of additional money. There are good websites, free websites that you can go to also find out about other scholarship opportunities, and there are 3 that are listed on the slide. Again, I would use free searches. It's best to start with the free ones and not pay someone to do this for you. Oftentimes, your high school guidance counselor is a good source about community scholarships. Some schools have an old-fashioned bulletin board where they post scholarship opportunities or send out electronic announcements. But this is something that may require a little extra checking, but it often is worth it for the student. Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about loans. And the first type of loan I want to talk about is the Stafford Loan Program. The Stafford Loan is the student loan program, and eligibility is listed on the screen. The amounts do increase $1,000 through the 3rd year of school and then remain constant for the 4th year. Students can borrow an additional $2,000 through the unsubsidized loan program over and above the amounts that are listed on the screen. The difference between the subsidized loan and the unsubsidized loan is that the interest does not have to be paid while the student is in school on the or the principal for the subsidized loan. The unsubsidized loan, the interest starts accruing immediately, even though you can opt to not pay it until the student does graduate. The interest rate on the Stafford loan for the 13-14 year, which is the year that we are currently in, was 3.86%. The rate for the 14-15 year will be set in June once the federal government makes that decision. Okay, then there are parent loans called PLUS loans. These are federal loans. Eligibility for the PLUS loan is based on the parent's credit. So if you have good credit, you will qualify for the PLUS loan. You can borrow as much as you need to send your student to college. We will take what's called the cost of education. We will subtract any other financial aid that the student is receiving, and you could, in theory, borrow the difference. We discourage you from over borrowing, so only borrow what is needed to send your student to school. But again, this is available to you if you do need it. The PLUS loan goes into immediate repayment when it's fully dispersed for that year. You can defer the interest and principal if you would choose to until after the student graduates. Even if you do defer that, we do recommend that you pay the interest as you go along to avoid interest capitalization. The interest rate for the current year that we're in right now is 6.41%. And like the Stafford loan, the interest rate will be announced in June, so we do not know that at the current time. Okay, so now we want to talk about how you apply for financial aid. So to apply for financial aid, you want to fill out the free application for federal student aid, otherwise known as the FAFSA. For those of you that have already applied to the university, we have sent you an instruction booklet for the FAFSA on the web, as well as information about financial aid at Philadelphia University. The FAFSA on the web worksheet will guide you through the filing of the FAFSA. You can also request a paper FAFSA if you would need one from us or from the federal government. But we do encourage you to fill out your FAFSA, and if you need assistance in filing the FAFSA and filling out a particular question, If you're not sure how to even begin the process, please contact us and we're available to help you with that. The period of time that you're wanting to fill out your FAFSA began January 1st, and we have a priority deadline of March 1st, and we're encouraging you to fill out the FAFSA by that date. We do have a special scholarship this year for students that do complete their FAFSA by March 1st. There will be a $1,000 early FAFSA filing scholarship. The web address for the FAFSA is at the bottom of the screen, and our deadline for applying for aid is April 15th. When you sit down to fill out your FAFSA, you're going to need some information that will help you in terms of how you maneuver through your FAFSA, and you're going to have to either need your parents' 2013 1040 form, the parents' asset information, the student's income from their 2013 1040, the student's assets. So if you haven't yet filed your FAFSA form, or excuse me, your 1040 form, you can still fill out your FAFSA using last year's information or estimating the current year information. So, but you will need to go back in if you do use estimated information or the prior year information. You'll need to go back into your FAFSA when you do file your tax return and update that information. But don't let the fact that you haven't filed your tax return delay your filing of the FAFSA. In addition, the parent and the student will need a PIN, personal identification number, and you will apply for this right on the FAFSA website, but that's what will be used for your electronic signature. So please safeguard your PIN because that will be your PIN for the 4 or 5 years that you'll be completing your FAFSA forms. So once you fill out your FAFSA, you are going to get back what's called a student aid report, and on that will be your family contribution. We're going to be taking that information and along with our cost of education, which includes our tuition, our room, our board, our books, and living expenses, and we'll figure out your financial need, and that's how we will figure out your financial aid package. When you fill out your FAFSA, if you find that there's information that does not represent itself in your situation, you should contact the financial aid office. For instance, if someone in the family has lost a job since the end of the year or even midway through last year and the information is not correctly represented, when you actually fill out your FAFSA, you should contact us and we can send you what's called an income reduction form where we can look at your potential 2014 income information. Just like if there's a change in the parent's marital status since the end of the year, then you would need to contact us and we'll guide you as to how to complete your FAFSA. If you have unusual expenses that are not asked about on the FAFSA, you would need to contact us and let us know what those are. There are some instances we can take unusual expenses into account and others we can't, but if you don't tell us about them, we won't know to do that. When you're filing your FAFSA for families that are divorced or separated, make sure you're filing your FAFSA using the information as it pertains to the custodial parent, meaning the parent that the student lived with the most in the prior 12 months. If that parent is remarried, then the step-parent's information also has to get included on the FAFSA. The non-custodial parent's information does not get represented on the FAFSA other than the child support that they may have paid to that student. Okay, so some helpful tips as you go through the process. Be aware of all deadlines. The financial aid filing deadline is April 15th. That will be true every year. You will have to fill out your FAFSA every year. The period will be January 1st to April 15th. Keep in mind that we do have the priority deadline of March 1st, and if you do file by that time, you will be eligible for the early FAFSA filing scholarship. When you get your financial aid package, which we will be sending out, if you file by March 1st, we'll be sending out our first group of packages mid-March, and after that we will be sending them out on a rolling basis. But make sure you compare your financial aid awards and that you factor in the cost to go to each school as you do receive your financial aid awards. Just want to go over the cost to go to Philadelphia University. So the costs on the screen are the costs for the current year. We don't have the costs for the 14-15 year yet, so we're expecting a slight increase. But the tuition for this current year is $32,990. There's an activity fee of $600. The room charge, if a student lives on campus, is $5,210. And the food portion for a student that lives on campus is $5,330, for a total of $44,130. When you go to college, you typically receive a bill in the summer for half of the amount of the tuition, room, and board, and you'll receive another bill in December for the spring semester, which will be the other half of the amount due. A lot of our families will take advantage of a payment plan that we have through an outside company called Tuition Management Services, where you can spread your payments over 10 months instead of paying in the two portions that I just mentioned. This program has a small enrollment fee. It will start in July, and it is very popular. A lot of our families do take advantage of this. Information will be sent to you in the spring, and you can enroll at that time. In addition, I just want to mention a couple of tax credits that are available once you start paying college tuition. One is the American Opportunity Credit. The other is the Lifetime Learning Credit. Again, these are tax credits that will come directly off your tax return, and there may be other income restrictions that are appropriate. But you do have to pay college tuition to be even eligible to be considered to use these. Okay, lastly, I want to close with the contact information for the financial aid staff. We have Amy, Brian, and Suzanne, who will be servicing you and your financial aid counselor for the 4 or 5 years that you're in school here. So feel free to call them with whatever questions you do have. They're assigned based on the first letter of the student's last name, and they will get to know you and be able to help you with any financial aid issues that you may have. In addition, Ron Dawson, our Associate Director, handles veterans benefit questions for anyone that may be a veteran, and you can always contact me. I'm the Director of Financial Aid with any questions that you do have. So we're here to help you. We're here to sort out information or that may be confusing. If you have questions about applying for aid that you're not sure how to navigate through the process, please contact us. We are here to help you, guide you through whatever you need in the way of financial aid help. And then this is the office contact information, that our email address and our phone number. So there's a very assortment of ways to contact us, and please reach out to us. We're here to help you. Thank you, and have a good evening.